I grew up with Pokemon. From the anime to the games and spin-offs, it was one of those franchises that had a lasting impact on who I am today. That's probably not a surprise considering much of my past work, but the truth is, I haven't been playing the games for years. I still loved the new critters that would come out, but I could never muster up the excitement to buy any of the new titles. I did pick up Ultra Sun back in the day, since it had been almost a decade since I had last played a Pokemon game. It was fun, albeit really slow. It was actually the first time I had fully completed the Pokedex. There were some improvements on the previous games I had played, but none of it was enough to get me excited for the franchise's future endeavors. When controversy was sparked for Gen 8 Dexit, I had lost all interest in buying any more games. I didn't like how they had straight up lied about cutting content to improve animations. The state of Gen 9 was even harder to defend. I had never seen a game come out in such a horrid state that Nintendo would issue refunds. For that, I had truly fallen out of love with Pokemon. And then I tried Radical Red. Radical Red is a difficulty and quality of life ROM hack of Pokemon Fire Red, and I fucking love it. A good few friends of mine recommended it for me a while back, and though I was a little hesitant, I was on to give it a try. And oh my god. Let me take you through a slightly different version of Kanto, and show you exactly how Radical Red was able to restore my love for Pokemon. You know what this video needs more of? Me. This took so many hours to implement. Welcome to my own custom version of Radical Red, where I modified the trainer sprites to look like my own design. It's still version 4.1, so don't expect any other changes, as long as I didn't break anything. Shout out to Hex Maniac Advance. With that out of the way, we can choose our region of starter choices. One of the best parts of Radical Red is that everyone is here, from Bulbasaur to Koraidon, and even... There's just one tiny problem. You see, when my friends recommended the game, we decided to spice things up a little. And by little, I mean a mono-type run. Being locked to using only a singular type has honestly been some of the most fun I've had in any Pokemon game. And though I wouldn't recommend doing it on your first run, I wanted to continue the trend while capturing footage. And unfortunately for me, I decided to finish a run that we had never completed. A rock mono type. I'll get more into why this is one of the worst types to do this with later. But for now, all you need to know is that none of the starter Pokemon in any region evolved to have a rock typing. So I just picked Kalos so that I can pick the bestest boy. The game starts as per usual. Deliver a parcel, beat your rival, yada yada yada. Pretty soon though, a lot of the quality of life makes itself known. If you beat the teacher in the schoolhouse, they'll give you a renewable tool that allows you to heal your team outside of the Poké Center up to 6 times. You'll also soon get tools such as the Dexnav and EXP Share, and you can already change Pokemon natures for free in the Poké Center. There's also cheat codes for infinite rare candies and showing all Pokemon in the Dexnav without needing to encounter them first. But I would never do something so scandalous. Meet Lucky, and his brothers Lenny and Leonard are actual starters for the run. Though they don't look like much now, these goodest puppers will be integral for the early game. I should note that even if I theoretically used rare candies, Radical Red enforces hard level caps that can only be increased by defeating boss battles such as gym leaders. Before that though, we head back to Pallet Town and grab Banjo the Binacle, so that we can get through Viridian Forest, where we experience our first team wipe. I swear I'm competent at this game. I'm not going to go over every single fight, just know that we're already running into challenges that are not well suited for our rock types. On the other side of the forest, we find a Alolan Geodude and a Nacli, and with the whole team, we head over to the museum and run into Faulkner, a gym leader from Johto. Another cool thing that Radical Red does is put each of the Johto gym leaders throughout Kanto, each holding on to really powerful items that they give out upon defeat. For example, Faulkner gives Roost, a solid move that heals its user for 50% of its HP. Don't look at that. I fixed that after Brock's gym, I promise. It should also be noted that fights like these scale with our strongest Pokemon by level, meaning that even if we come back later, the Johto leaders and other major battles don't really get any easier after our level cap increases. That said, Mo just uses rollout and wins. A little anticlimactic, not something we'll see very often soon. Brock causes us some trouble due to having a lot of ground coverage. I actually get swept by his Onix, but it's going to be a little hard to live down. Regardless, we regroup and make sure to have Banjo ready to take out any dangerous threats. One gym down, 7 more to go. While I make my way to Cerulean City, let me tell you about why Rock sucks to do a monotype with. With a total of 5 different weaknesses, it's very hard to patch up your team to defend against bad matchups. This is especially true for fighting and ground, both of which have really powerful moves and are extremely common coverage found in many Pokemon. This means that we can expect to take super effective hits relatively often. Another problem is the Pokemon themselves. While fighting types get Blaziken, Urshifu, and Great Tusk, rock types get Tyranitar, Terrakion, and Terrakion. Though these Pokemon aren't bad by any means, it is just by comparison that we can start to see an issue. It is telling when a variety of Pokemon evolve to become more powerful by shedding their rock typing, which of course also means that we can't even use them. It's not all bad though. In fact, the Lunatone we pick up here will be a staple for the rest of the run. Meet the N Jr., who has decided to take a visit from the end of Sonic Frontiers. With Levitate and the possibility of learning Lumina Crash, this mon will be our go-to for breaking through impossible odds. We also pick up a Roly-Poly, and with the Helix Fossil chosen and Archer beaten, we are officially out of the early game. From now on, we will no longer be handed any free wins. I want to make it very clear that this is a difficulty hack. I think that the difficulty curve is pretty well done, but I will say that the game expects you to at least be willing to learn a decent bit about competitive Pokemon strategies, and do a little bit of research on what you have available. I decided to train up my team before I take on the bridge. I evolved Lucky, Lenny, and Leonard into their 3 forms of Lightning Rock. I might have hit the wrong type setting. I evolved Lucky, Lenny, and their sister Leia into the 3 forms of Lightning Rock, since I felt Leonard wanted to keep our bestest boy company in the bestest boy box. I do the puzzle to unlock relearning moves anywhere, get Fly from a rival, and then take on the bridge. I'm always afraid of the Team Rocket grunt at the end. With both a Gabite and a Togedemaru to break through, this fight is very tough for the early game. That's not even to mention the last resort's Protect Kamala in the back, which deletes anything that does not resist it. Luckily our rock types do, and we were able to chip away with the N Jr. and FedEx until nothing stands in our way. I pay Bill a visit to get a ticket for the SSN and decide to take on Bugsy while I'm there. Usually a pain to do with the Rain Up nullifying firepower, FedEx gets a lucky Flame Body on Scizor, and our rock types easily take out the rest. We get the TM for U-turn for our efforts, and move on to take on the next gym leader. Seems like our rock run is off to a pretty great start. She's honestly not that bad. She just has a Floatzel that outspeeds our entire team. This is one of the things that I love about Radical Red. It represents a very specific issue, and it's your job to figure out a counter. This kind of puzzle-esque gameplay crops up throughout the entire game, keeping things fresh by virtue of presenting more and more complex fights that you simply can't just mash A to win. For this fight, I was able to get a rock polish off after a hypnosis with the N Jr., and with that, they were able to neutralize anything problematic, and we receive our second badge. While I have a chance, I should probably mention raid dens. These dens initiate a Dynamax battle where you choose a partner and 3 of your team to try and take down rare Pokemon. To be honest, I don't really care for these. I don't think I've ever lost a fight to one. The shields at House Elf return from Sword and Shield. Yay. I do think that the rewards for these can be worth it though, especially later on. Since raid dens level up as you progress, this is how you are able to catch mythicals and legendaries. And whether or not you catch anything, you can still get great items such as ability pills, allowing you to swap a Pokemon's ability with ease, and a select few of other pretty good items. Where was I? Oh yeah, Whitney. This is another fight that I usually struggle with, but the N Jr. had other plans. Shit. Should also mention that this game implemented follower Pokemon. Not every Pokemon has follow sprites, so you'll mostly see Hisuian and Arcanine behind me for most of the run. Meet Rusty, and don't let those 4 times weaknesses fool you. With Intimidate and a pretty good spread of resistances and super effective coverage, Rusty makes a great switch with plenty of potential to KO. While we are in Vermilion, we might as well grab a couple of our fossils, namely Cradily and Archeops to cover some of our weaknesses. Oh Gen 1 Electric Gym Puzzle, how I don't miss you. Luckily, in the newer versions of Radical Red, the switches don't reset if you get one wrong. Lieutenant Surge also introduces us to Mega Evolutions, with a free double Intimidate from Mega Manectric. So glad we don't get our Mega Ring until the 5th gym, not even including any Mega Stoats. Bot confuses Manectric about why anyone would send a Cradily out to face it, and Lucky is able to clutch everything else. 3 gems down. As I'm sure you've noticed, Radical Red has made a few changes to the balance of individual Pokemon. I mentioned Lunatone learning Lumina Crash earlier, but they also got buff stats. You can see changes like this across the board for all kinds of underappreciated Pokemon. In general, every Pokemon has been given some sort of niche. Look at Delibird. They gave this thing Refrigerate Fake Out Extreme Speed. That's insane impenetrable damage completely for free. If you want your friends to hate you, try challenging them to a Pokemon Showdown with Technician Storm Throw. Trust me, I know from experience. Back to the run, we go out of our way to pick up Flash and make our way through Rocky Tunnel, where unsurprisingly, we get most of our Rock-type encounters. Soon, my friend, soon. Though the trek is long, we really don't run into anything worth mentioning through all of it. Even Erica doesn't put up much of a fight. Yeah, Grassy Train, Gorilla Boom, and Mega Venusaur are pretty scary, but we have enough heavy hitters to finish them off before they become a problem. Easy first try. Of course, that's not all that is found in Celadon City. Beating Erica allows us to receive a Sevian egg from a guy in the Poke Center. Radical Red comes with a few brand new regional forms for certain Pokemon, which was a really cool surprise for me. I especially love the Fairy Ground Sevian Milotic. It's just such a fun design. What is important to mention here is that one of the Sevian forms is a rock type immune to fighting type moves. Sevian Noivern, and by proxy Noibat, are our only rock ghost types. And they're alright. They also get Levitate, making them an amazing pivot for our team. Their damage can leave a little to be desired for how absurd the game looks later on, but they fill a solid niche. With that, I can't stall any longer. As we make our way through the Team Rocket hideout, we finally meet up with... Taking a look at Giovanni's team, we can see all kinds of issues prop up. His Orthworm has Shed Tail, allowing any part of his team a free turn to set up and begin steamrolling. This could be used to pivot his Infernape, an extremely fast monkey with Swords Dance, or worse, his Mega Kangaskhan. You see, Mega Kangaskhan has the ability Parental Bond, allowing them to hit twice, albeit a weaker percentage for the second hit. Of course, a weaker second hit doesn't matter if it still procs the status. And what do you know? Mega Kangaskhan gets Power Up Punch, giving them 2 attack boost, while doing a decent amount of damage in one turn. You might think that Silencer is the perfect counter then. You can't get boost if what you're hitting is immune. Nope. A Double Crunch easily one-shots our Ghost Rock. Adding the substitute from Orthworm's Shed Tail, you can see how this fight can get out of hand quickly. We need the N Jr. to take out Nidoking in one shot. We don't have anything else to take care of them. Veluza can be scary, so we grab our super defensive Avalok to take a hit. Despite its reputation, its insane bulk on the physical side is a great boon for our purposes. Couple that with Technician and being given access to priority moves, this thing can bail us out of some major problems. That's why we call her the Bomb. Just don't stick her out in front of any special attacks. Rusty is an amazing counter for Orthworm. He can't stop the Shed Tail, but an Intimidate and neutral hit from Iron Head completely bounces off. Kangaskhan comes out. I know Rusty isn't long for this world, so I try to break out the substitute before he goes. I underestimate his power in Accelerock though, and would have to spend another turn breaking it while Mega Kangaskhan powers up. I know Mozart outspeeds, so with Stab Acrobatics he should get some massive damage before going down. We also get a lucky crit to further push it forward. Send out the Bomb to finish the job, and Kangaskhan goes down. Now it's just cleanup. Infernape likely sees a kill with close combat, so I switch to Silencer in case the Bomb wouldn't be able to one-shot it. Infernape gets greedy and is quickly taken out by Silencer. Being a Dark type, I figured Honchpo would easily take out our Ghost, but she somehow lives on 1 HP, and another solid win goes to Noivern. At this point, Orthworm is practically already dead, and despite taking Silencer out beforehand, Lucky comes out and easily finishes the job. I did it! I beat the mid-game! I wanted to give a play-by-play to really drive home how much thought is put into every battle from now on. If I remember correctly, I spent hours on Giovanni the first time. And this isn't even the last time you fight him. Trust me, it gets so much worse. I think this highlights a major difference between the vanilla games and Radical Red. Though battling is far from the only reason people like Pokemon, I do think that the strategy and team building is a major component. It just feels a little lacking in many titles. This ROM hack makes me feel smart for planning ahead and overcoming hard challenges. That's not to say I believe vanilla Pokemon should be as ball-crushingly hard as Radical Red, but I would like some more memorable fights outside of the very end. These games go on for dozens of hours, so I think it would be nice to have a bit more to sink my teeth into for the main game. Honestly, despite my problems with Generation 7, I do think that the totem battles were a step in the right direction. They at least stick out from many of the other fights in the game, making them a whole lot scarier than the basic trainer battles. The calling for allies mechanic does get pretty annoying though, especially on how arbitrary it feels to not be able to send in an ally yourself. With that win under our belt, we can finally afford a Tyranitar, giving us control over the weather. If you didn't know, while Sandstorm is up, all of our Rock-type Pokemon gain a 50% boost to their special defenses. Couple that with free chip damage on most Pokemon, and the ability to neutralize bad weather such as rain, Honest Abe slots into our team very nicely. They head over to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town and take on the Ghost Alola Marowak that's probably more interesting to take on at a lower level, but oh well. With input to rest, an old man gives us a Pokeflute to wake up the Snorlaxes in our way. Johto leader Morty is also here with his Mega Gengar, but he doesn't have anything worse than we've dealt with before, so we take him down first try and obtain the TM for Shadow Ball. Back in Saffron City, it's time to take on Silph Co Tower. we manage to find the key and fight our rival before finally making it to the final floor, where for the first time we get a full heal and a warning of a difficult fight up ahead. That's not a good sign. And oh boy, is it not. Welcome to partner fights, where you only get to take 3 of your Pokemon into the double battle. You do have an ally with 3 of their own Pokemon, but not having control over what they bring and what they can do can be frustrating for the kinds of things that we have to go up against. Did I mention that everyone else has Mega Evolution yet? Because we still don't. Of course, persistence is key, and trying out a few other Pokemon eventually get us through. Oh hey, it's... If you thought the first fight was bad, it got so much worse. In this rematch, he's running a full sand team, which wouldn't be terrible for our rock types if he didn't exclusively run ground physical attackers. It's not even to mention that ground types have great benefits in Sandstorm as well, many of which having abilities that take advantage of it. Take the classic Sand Rush Escadrille, doubling its speed. My personal favorite, Sandvale Garchomp, making our attacks more likely to miss. You have the bulky Garganacl that can stall us out if we can't do enough damage in time, and of course the returning Mega Chaos Cod. I promise I do love this game. To win this fight, we essentially need to bring hard counters for each of his most threatening Pokemon. The End Junior can prevent Hippowdon from setting Stealth Rocks by putting them to sleep. We have Peter the Rhyperior and Banjo the Barbaracle to make sure that we can take a hit before taking out either the Garganacl or Excadrill. And I really wanted Rusty so he could get a burn off on a threat, having their attack, but in the end it was Intimidate that helped us win against Kangaskhan. Mozart was supposed to be a backup to take out Torterra, but he did not speed the Kangaskhan, so he ended up getting knocked out. We need the bomb to take out Garchomp, but if we're lucky, they can do serious damage to anything else on the team. If anything, this just shows how useful Technician Priority is. With Giovanni down, again, we finally gain access to our Mega Ring. But we don't have access to any Rock-type Megastones, so I continue not using Megas for now. Nearby we find Chuck's gym, I think? Regardless, as a Johto leader, he gives us some great items, so we need to defeat him for some upgrades. Despite the advantage to our Rock types, he's nothing compared to what we just went through. Another first try. For our efforts, we received the Expert Belt and Focus Sash, both of which we instantly equip. Since we're on a roll, we might as well take on Sabrina. Did I break something? Is it supposed to look like that? Don't tell me. I'm in a creepypasta. Sabrina's kind of a breath of fresh air. Half their team isn't even psychic. I'm kind of mixed on gym leaders not committing to their type. If it makes it more interesting, I guess it's fine. Her main gimmick is Psychic Terrain, that disallows the use of priority moves, which will normally cripple the bomb, but she also likes to use Trick Room, making slower Pokemon move first, so... With the 5th gym badge, we can finally wake the sleeping Snorlaxes in our path. We actually have a choice on which path we want to take to get to the next town. Open to what my friends like to call hell. Boasting the longest routes in the game, both paths to Fuchsia have permanent weather conditions, meaning trainer fights like to have powerful weather abusers. We could choose to either take the Speedway with sand and rain teams, or the side path with snow and sun. Since rock types have an advantage over ice and fire types, our choice is pretty simple. Even with our 6 free heals every run, we have to return to the Poke Center a few times and avoid a few trainers just to get through. At the very least, our type advantage keeps us from getting stuck anywhere for too long. Hello, Brendan. Goodbye, Brendan. With Rock Smash in hand, we backtrack to grab Terrakion. Told you I'd come back soon. We also remember to grab the gold teeth in the Savari and return them so that we can use Strength in Victory Road. Our team is pretty much maxed out at this point. The only rock types that we're missing are locked behind Dynamax dens, and I only really want to do those if I have to. We'll get a couple useful items after Koga, but at this point, we're pretty much unstoppable. Oh. As of Radical Red 4.0, the gym rematches are mandatory. I don't like this change, especially since it feels so arbitrary. I get that this is a difficulty hack, and now that we're further along, the gym leaders can have more interesting teams, but it's just such a huge pace breaker. You might think it's Brock's Sand team or Misty's Rain team that might cause us the most trouble, but it's actually Surge with his Electric Terrain Paradox Pokeball. Why is Bellybolt back? Fuck you. With the side questing out of the way, we can actually enter Koga's gym to take him down. He's a whole lot easier than the gym rematches, not using weather, terrain, or busted Pokemon, so he doesn't last very long. Another reason I don't think the forced rematches were the best decision. With our 6th gym badge, we can finally use Surf and grab our first Mega Tyranitar. And everything up to Blaine is pretty manageable. We fight 2 of the remaining Johto leaders, get some of the best items used in competitive play, and absolutely wreck Blaine with our rock powerhouses. Truly nothing should stop us now, right? Oh god. As we head to the 8th gym, we get interrupted by Brendan, who needs our help stopping Team Rocket in the Cerulean Cave. If there's one fight that gives me legitimate nightmares, it's the final fight with Archer and Ariana. If the gloves were off before, this is like if Radical Red suddenly put out a gun. This time, it's not a double battle, at least not in the traditional sense. Both Archer and Ariana have 4 Pokemon each, but the catch is, You must defeat them one after another, no saving or healing in between. This means that your 6 Pokemon have to take out their 8, and their teams aren't slouches either, with both of them having their Megas and competitive held items. Without further ado, let's do this. What? What do you mean you killed them? I don't even know what to say. I had the whole plan of breaking down the fight, maybe going and grabbing the last few rock types in the region. I've never been out of this fight in anything less than an hour or so with speed up. But I guess the solution is just give the bomb a choice ban? Good girl. Well, I guess the only thing to do is move forward. Oh hey, it's... This is another companion fight, as Lance appears to help us out. Thanks. At the very least, we don't have to babysit his Dragapult in new versions of Radical Red, as he takes out the Tapu Lele instead of setting up screens. The fight takes place on psychic terrain, so we can't rely on the bomb, while also fighting a Mewtwo that Mega Evolves with full health upon being defeated, while also tanking a boosted Expanding Force that hits both targets on our side. Yeah, the game's a little unfair towards the end. Eventually, we take out enough threats so that Lance can carry us to the end. We'll have to fight that Dialga in the Elite Four, by the way. We get to see some nice story beats, and with that, we can finally take on the last gym, which is now run by the final Johto leader Claire, who has nothing any more significant than for what we've already dealt with. With the final badge in hand, there's only one last thing to do. The lead up to the Elite Four isn't anything too surprising. The game is throwing pretty much whatever it can at us, from Flinch Jirachi to a full sleep team to the developer's silly explosion team. And we take it all in full stride. We've been through so much to get here, we can't stop now. As we enter the doors to the Elite Four, I'm gonna be honest. I'm writing this part of the script before any attempts, and I have no idea if I can do this. The upcoming challenge consists of some of the most powerful deities that Pokemon has ever created, and I'm out here throwing rocks hoping to somehow knock them out. This is where many of my previous runs have gone to die. Half the time, I can't even make it past the first league member. Usually, I'm satisfied enough being Giovanni for the last time to move on to the next run or to the next game that piques my interest. That said, I want to give this one my all. One final win to close out this video. Let's take a look at our team. First, we have Lucky the Dust Lycanroc, our reliable starter from the very beginning. Admittedly, they're a little outclassed at this point, but I'm sentimental and just really want to bring them to the end. Next is Honest Abe the Tyranitar, who will serve as our Mega Pokemon. As such, he will help tank hits that the rest of the team can't take, and doing great damage to boot. He will also be instrumental in controlling the weather against Lorelei. Boomer the Tracheon is a more recent member to the team. Boasting great attack power and speed, they will be our main wall breaker. We can't forget the Yen Jr. With a fighting type league member, our Lunatone is the best bet to take them down. The bomb, the Hisui and Avalugg, has easily been an MVP for the late game. With Technician Priority, boosted by the choice ban I gave them, any major threat weak to her won't stand a chance. Lastly, Bach the Cradily. I used him a couple times earlier in the game, but generally opted for more powerful Pokemon. That said, Bach's Storm Dream ability and Grass typing is the only way I could imagine getting past Lorelei's Rain team. I do want to mention a couple other Pokemon that helped us get here, but unfortunately didn't make the cut. Silencer's immunities and speed has made them a really great pivot for when we needed it, but like Lucky, she simply didn't scale with the absolute monsters we're about to face. Both Rusty and Peter have been amazing Pokemon getting us out of serious binds, but neither would fare very well against Lorelei. Can you tell I'm worried about Lorelei? And why wouldn't I be? She technically has 2 possible teams, but of course, we're stuck with the Rain team, with a Priable Kyogre. Great! We can cheese half the fight by switching between Honest Abe and Bach, constantly neutralizing the Rain and absorbing all water attacks. Her team heavily relies on Rain, so Politoed will always try to bring it back when it runs out. We can chip away at our Pokemon using this strat until Primal Kyogre hits the field, and we can no longer change the weather. At this point, it's go time to eliminate Kyogre as fast as possible. Once they're out of the way, all we need to do is switch in Tyranitar one last time to make sure Mega Swampert doesn't get Swift Swim. The rest of our Pokemon should be manageable. I heavily underestimated Bruno. I don't remember usually struggling too hard against him in the older updates, but with its Gen 9 upgrades and only using rock types, this fight was mentally taxing. Okay, if he sends out his Great Tusks first, we lose. Full stop. We don't have enough firepower to take that out, along with Zacian Crown outspeeding our entire team. When he leads with Infernape, we need to lead with either Lucky or Lunatone with boosting moves. This will force the Infernape to waste their turn taunting. Bruno will likely send out Zacian Crown next, and with the attack boost on our entry, not a single Pokemon on our team can take a single hit without being knocked out. If he's not already on the field, we send in Lucky with Focus Sash, which will give us just enough time to use close combat and get her into Avalugg range. With Zacian down, we need to switch to the Yen Jr. Once again though, no one can survive close combat, so we send in Honest Abe to act as cover, since we need chip damage from Sandzoon anyways. You did good, soldier. With the switch now being free, we can use Moonblast to take Urshifu out, and for Iron Valiant to hop in. The N Junior moonblasts again, and Sandstorm finishes him off. Mega Lucario also one-shots and outspeeds our entire team, so we need to get him in Avalok range. He uses close combat on both the N Junior and Boomer, lowering his defenses enough for the bomb to come in and finish him off. Luckily, Komodo is weak to Ice Shard, and we lose. The bomb couldn't kill from full health. After a little under 2 hours of attempts with speed up, trying new strategies and held items, this was the closest I was able to get with our current team. In the moment, I felt like I couldn't let the video end like this. I knew I could win if I just stopped holding back. With a heavy heart, I decided to replace Lucky for the finale. Get some rest, buddy. I know you tried your best. Thank you for everything. I love this ROM hack. I really do. A challenge like this really sticks with me. I didn't just overcome impossible odds. I made friends, and we helped each other to meet our goals. They weren't just random Pokemon, they were my team, and they stuck with me through thick and thin. I think that's part of the magic of Pokemon that I had forgotten. Back when I first played this hack, I played it alongside some great people that I'm so happy to call really good friends. I got to see them struggle and overcome, and I got to be excited at every milestone each of us completed. I also got my ass handed to me a good couple times, but it's one of those fond memories I'll hold on to for the rest of my life. And Radical Red did that for me. Pokemon did that for me. Before taking on the Indigo League again, I went out of my way to grab Iron Boulder, who was the powerhouse that we needed. And yeah, I won. Our team made it through Bruno. Agatha is pretty manageable compared to earlier fights. Lance is a pushover with the bombed Ice Shard. Blue was still a pain, but I still somehow managed to outspeed his Ditto. And when I won, I felt mixed. I'm glad I persisted. I think it's partly just feeling drained from the difficulty of the final challenge. I also got really attached to my team, so it really stung when I was unable to bring Lucky to the end. I just wasn't connected to Zoomer in the same way as I was with Lucky. I haven't felt a connection like that since way back in Pokemon Pearl. I think that's why Nuzlocke are so popular. You're not just catching Pokemon to win, you're making a team, working together, getting attached. I don't personally enjoy playing Nuzlocke myself, but seeing communities rally together to see people in Pokemon triumph over hard challenges is something special that I don't think many other games can capture. I still have my issues with many of the mainline Pokemon titles, but for the first time in a long time, I'm kind of excited to see what comes next for the franchise. I want to be immersed in this world and make connections. I wanted to do things I never thought possible through teamwork with friends I meet. Radical Red has been a great experience for me, showing me both what Pokemon can be and why I always used to love it. If there's one thing that I want to say before this video ends, it's that I'm so happy Pokemon exists at all. It's given me so much, and I know this video isn't much, but for once, I wanted to give something back. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, it means a lot that you were content to hear me ramble for the good past while. With the new year, I wanted to try a new style of video that had always really inspired me. I have a few ideas for other games I want to cover, but I don't want to set anything in stone in case I get busy. I'm just glad I finally got a chance to talk about something special to me. If you're interested in playing this ROM hack yourself, a link to the documentation should be found in the description below. You'll need to patch your legally dumped Fire Red ROM, of course, but that should be all you need to get going. Just know the game doesn't hold back on difficulty. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and best of luck on your own journey. Peace.